Imagine stepping onto your street and feeling your front yard pull you in like a boutique hotel entrance. Welcoming, modern, and effortlessly curated. Today on Luxury Home Decor, I'm sharing contemporary front yard landscaping ideas that transform curb appeal without demanding a full renovation. You'll hear practical design moves, small upgrades with big impact, and smart seasonal strategies. Whether your home leans minimalist, coastal, or transitional, these tips help you build a cohesive, low-maintenance, high-style first impression that endures. Modern landscapes start with structure, and structure begins with lines. Think of your front yard as a series of zones: entry path, plant beds, seating, and edges, and use clean geometry to define each area. Straight or gently curved pathways guide movement and create rhythm. Raised planters establish height and dimension. Simple borders in concrete, steel, or stone give clarity. When form is strong, even modest plantings read intentional, making the whole composition feel contemporary and calm. Color sets mood before any plant blooms. Choose a restrained base palette, cool grays, warm taupe, or matte charcoal for hardscapes, then layer living color strategically. Deep greens anchor, silvery foliage adds sheen, and seasonal flowers become accents rather than the main event. Consider one bold pop at the door, aubergine pots, terracotta planters, or a vibrant welcome mat to connect architecture with a landscape. Consistency across materials and tones keeps the front elevation feeling harmonious, fresh, and balanced. Lighting is the unsung hero of curb appeal. A few well-placed fixtures can make simple elements feel sculptural at night and safer underfoot. Use low-profile path lights to trace walkways, uplights to graze textured walls or specimen trees, and warm bulbs near the entry to invite guests. Aim for layers instead of brightness. Solar options stretch budgets, while smart timers automate ambience across seasons. Good lighting elongates evenings, highlights structure, and turns your front yard into a nightly scene. If you're working with a small footprint, think vertical. Tall, narrow planters, trellised vines, and slim ornamental trees add presence without sacrificing valuable ground space. Layer heights, ground covers, mid-height shrubs, then a sculptural focal point, to build depth from sidewalk to door. Choose plants with year-round interest like evergreen shapes or colored bark, so the garden performs beyond flowering seasons. The result is a contemporary look that feels lush yet tidy, perfect for compact urban entries. Gravel is a budget-friendly powerhouse for modern yards. It creates crisp surfaces, supports drainage, and pairs beautifully with concrete pavers. Use a compacted base, edge it cleanly, and consider larger decorative stones as punctuation. Select a gravel tone that complements your home's exterior. Cooler stones flatter modern grays, while warmer blends soften brick or stucco. Add spiky grasses or low mounds of thyme to break up expanses. It's affordable, permeable, and surprisingly elegant when thoughtfully applied. Your pathway is a choreography of first impressions. Oversized pavers set in stepping rhythms feel contemporary and dynamic, especially when separated by ground-cover joints or slim gravel bands. Keep the shapes consistent and the spacing walkable. If curves suit your architecture, make them intentional and smooth. Incorporate a landing zone near the door for planters or a bench, creating a small moment of arrival. A clear, beautiful path signals hospitality and helps every other design choice fall into place. Seasonal change should feel like a wardrobe refresh, not a full redesign. Build a backbone of evergreens and textural grasses, then rotate small accents with a calendar. Bulbs in spring, herbs in summer, ornamental cabbages in fall, and twinkling branches in winter. Swap planter inserts, door mats, and wreaths to echo the season's colors. Because the framework stays steady, these quick updates look seamless and cost-effective, keeping your front yard lively without draining time or budget. Water-wise planting is both contemporary and considerate. Choose drought-tolerant species that thrive in your climate, group them by water needs, and mulch generously to retain moisture. Drip irrigation targets roots efficiently and hides neatly below the surface. Sculptural succulents, aromatic herbs, and resilient grasses deliver modern texture without constant fuss. The savings show up on utility bills and weekends, while the visual language, strong forms, varied leaf shapes, feels crisp, current, and beautifully restrained. Front yards aren't just for looking, they're for living. Consider a slim bench, a built-in ledge, or a cafe table tucked near the entry to encourage casual moments outside. Choose weatherproof materials and shapes that echo your architecture. Boxy for modern, tapered for transitional. A small seating gesture invites neighbors to linger and softens the line between public and private. When designed with intention, even a modest perch becomes a feature worth celebrating every day. Cohesion comes from repetition. Pick 2 or 3 materials, perhaps concrete, blackened steel, and cedar, and repeat them across edges, planters, and accents. Echo shapes too. If your windows are rectangular, reflect that geometry in pavers and raised beds. Repetition doesn't mean monotony. It creates visual reliability. Then introduce one unexpected element, maybe a curved planter or a textural boulder, to add tension. This balance between consistency and surprise defines contemporary curb appeal beautifully. Think of your mailbox and house numbers as jewelry for the facade. Sleek, oversized numerals with high contrast improve wayfinding and give your entry immediate polish. A custom-mounted mailbox in powder-coated metal or stained wood whispers quality without shouting. Position both for easy visibility from the street and illuminate them with a discreet light. These small upgrades are relatively affordable, yet they elevate the entire composition and hint at the thoughtful design waiting inside. Plant shapes matter as much as plant species. Combine upright forms, soft mounds, and trailing edges to build contrast and flow. Repeat a few chosen shapes to keep the look unified. In contemporary yards, foliage typically leads and flowers support, so select leaves with interesting edges, gloss, or color shift. Prune for crisp silhouettes rather than perfection. Controlled, not fussy. The right mix keeps maintenance manageable while delivering a sculptural, magazine-worthy front yard through every season. Mulch is more than a finishing touch. It's a design tool. Dark, fine mulch creates a smooth field that makes luminous foliage pop, while lighter gravel mulch feels coastal and modern. Beyond appearance, mulch regulates moisture and buffers temperatures, reducing stress on plants. Keep it cleanly contained with metal edging for a professional look. Refresh seasonally where needed. This simple, budget-friendly step ties beds together and instantly lifts the appearance of the entire front approach. If you love lawn, consider a right-sized version. Expanses of grass can feel dated and thirsty, but a small geometric patch framed by gravel or pavers looks intentional and fresh. Choose low-water or native varieties where possible, and define edges meticulously to maintain crisp lines. Use the lawn as a soft contrast to structured elements, a place for bare feet, a visual breather, a modern green square that works as part of a larger, smarter composition. Entry doors are natural focal points. Amplify them with symmetry, matching planters, or with curated asymmetry, a single, striking pot and a sculptural light. Choose plants that echo the door's color, temperature, and material. If your door is bold, let surrounding elements quiet down. If the door is neutral, use nearby foliage and hardware to add character. The goal is a confident invitation, a moment that frames your home's personality before anyone steps over the threshold. Budget constraints can sharpen creativity. Prioritize high-impact zones. The path, the porch, the numbers, and the first 6 feet of planting. Paint or stain-dated railings. Swap worn doormats for layered rugs. And refresh planters with hardy evergreens. Shop surplus stone yards for offcuts that become unique stepping pads. Reuse existing pots with fresh soil and a strong color story. These smaller moves compound, stretching your budget while still delivering a distinctly contemporary front yard. Texture is the quiet star of modern landscaping. Pair smooth concrete with ribbed grasses, glossy leaves with matte gravel, and warm cedar with cool metal. Textural contrast reads beautifully from the street and holds interest up close. When in doubt, run your hand over materials. If it feels varied, it will likely look dynamic. Avoid too many competing textures though. Aim for a rhythm where one surface leads, another supports, and the planting ties everything into a coherent whole. Sustainability can be stylish. Rain chains, discreet water barrels, and permeable pavers manage runoff while doubling as sculptural elements. Native plants support pollinators and require fewer inputs. Choose LED fixtures and set them on motion or dusk sensors for efficiency. Reclaimed stone or wood adds character and reduces waste. When eco-smart features are integrated from the beginning, they elevate design rather than feeling like add-ons, proving that a contemporary front yard can be both green and graceful. Design principles make decisions easier. Start with balance. Symmetry for formality, asymmetry for movement. Add contrast through light and dark, soft and hard, tall and low. Create hierarchy by giving one element the starring role. A tree, a door, or a water feature. Maintain proportion so planters and paths suit your home's scale. Finally, edit ruthlessly. Removing one extra item often reveals stronger lines and a calmer mood, which is the essence of contemporary curb appeal. For homes with long driveways, treat the edges like gallery frames. Use repeated plantings, grasses, small shrubs, or clipped hedges to guide the eye and soften hard surfaces. Consider a narrow planting strip between paving bands to break up wide spans. Low, integrated lighting provides safety while emphasizing rhythm. Keep maintenance in mind. Choose hardy species and simple spacing. A considered driveway reads as part of the design, not just a utility, and it sets the tone from the curb onward. privacy is a goal, layer it gracefully. Instead of tall walls, use staggered plantings, ornamental grasses, or slatted screens that filter views while allowing breezes and light. Position denser elements near the street and lighter textures closer to the entry. This gradation creates depth and welcome. The look stays contemporary because lines remain clean and materials consistent. You gain a sense of seclusion without isolating your home from the neighborhood's energy and connection. Containers are flexible storytellers. Choose modern shapes, cylinders, cubes, or tapered forms, and group them in odd numbers for balance. Keep finishes cohesive, all matte, all concrete, or all ceramic tones. Plant with a simple formula: a structural anchor, a filler with movement, and a seasonal accent. Rotate accents through the year to refresh without replanting the entire container. Containers frame entries, punctuate pathways, and bring design up to eye level, making even small spaces feel curated and personal. Consider a modern water element if your climate and budget allow. A slim wall fountain, a basin with a sheet fall, or a reflective bowl adds sound, motion, and a touch of luxury. Keep forms minimal and materials aligned with the rest of your palette. Circulating systems minimize water use, and LED lighting turns the feature into evening theater. The key is restraint. The water should complement your landscape's calm, not compete with it. Edging is the difference between tidy and tired. Steel or aluminum strips create razor-sharp boundaries between gravel, lawn, and beds. Stone curbs provide a more substantial frame with timeless appeal. Whatever you choose, keep lines consistent and corners deliberate. Good edging reduces maintenance by keeping mulch and gravel in place, and it visually organizes the yard. When the edges are crisp, even simple plantings look sophisticated and thoroughly contemporary from the sidewalk. Front porches deserve landscaping love too. Treat the steps as a micro-garden, styling with layered planters, a weatherproof stool, and a compact lantern. Introduce texture underfoot with an outdoor rug that echoes your palette. If space allows, add a narrow console shelf for mail and potted herbs. Keep traffic clear and sight lines open. The porch becomes a graceful bridge between architecture and planting, a functional stage that says welcome while feeling modern and uncluttered. Climate responsiveness is a hallmark of good design. Study your sun patterns, wind, and rainfall before choosing plants and materials. Place heat-loving species near radiating hardscapes, and shade-sensitive plants where they won't scorch. Use windbreaks or screens where gusts funnel. Plan for drainage with swales or permeable surfaces. When the landscape supports your microclimate, maintenance drops and beauty rises. The yard feels like it belongs because it genuinely does. Designed for your place, not a catalog. Stone brings subtle drama. Large format pavers read tailored and contemporary, while split face accents lend texture without fuss. Consider a restrained mix. One smooth, one rough, one gravel. Vary sizes to create movement, but limit colors for cohesion. Dry set installations can often be budget-friendly and reparable. Leave planting pockets between stones to weave nature through structure. This balance of hard and soft creates a front yard that feels composed, walkable, and inviting from the first step. Don't forget scent. Fragrant plants near entries and windows, like rosemary, star jasmine, or lavender, create sensory moments that linger longer than blooms. Keep plantings clipped for structure and combine with grasses for movement. Aroma cues relaxation and welcome, making quick mornings and late returns feel special. It's a small investment with a disproportionate emotional payoff, and it layers beautifully into contemporary designs that already prize texture, restraint, and everyday enjoyment. Pure welcome. Mail paths and service zones can be designed forward. Where deliveries drop or bins wait, conceal clutter with slim screens or hedges and mark routes with durable pavers. Install a simple gate latch, add a footing light, and choose materials consistent with the front pallet. These practical zones often sit near the curb, influencing first impressions more than expected. Treat them with the same care as your entry, and the whole frontage feels intentional, efficient, and attractive. For sloped yards, terraces unlock possibilities. Step the grade with low retaining walls that double as seating edges. Keep risers consistent and treads generous for comfort. Plant each terrace with a distinct texture. Ground covers below, grasses mid-level, shrubs above, to create layered depth from the street. Terracing reduces erosion and turns challenging topography into a sculptural statement. Paired with discreet lighting, it delivers drama at night and function during the day, all within a modern vocabulary. If you crave color, curate it. Choose 1 or 2 accent hues that complement your home's facade and repeat them in planters, cushions, and seasonal blooms. Think saffron and charcoal, indigo and limestone, or olive and terracotta. Keep the backdrop neutral so the accents sing rather than shout. Rotate the accents seasonally to stay fresh without buying new containers. Color becomes a signature. Memorable, flexible, and unmistakably contemporary when used with intention and restraint. Wildlife-friendly doesn't mean wild-looking. Select nectar-rich perennials, seed-bearing grasses, and bird-friendly shrubs, but plant them in deliberate drifts with clean edges. Add a shallow water source with a recirculating pump to keep it fresh. The result supports pollinators and songbirds while maintaining a crisp, modern profile. You'll enjoy movement and life in the garden without sacrificing order, proving that ecological sensitivity and contemporary styling can thrive side by side. Balance achieved. art belongs outdoors. A single sculptural piece, metal sphere, abstract form, or carved stone, can anchor a front bed and guide the eye toward the entry. Choose something weatherproof and scaled to the open space. Then keep surrounding plantings understated. Night lighting should graze, not spotlight, allowing subtle shadow play. The goal is quiet confidence, a focal point that enhances your architecture and ties the landscape together without feeling busy or themed. Maintenance is design. Plan for easy care by giving plants room to mature, choosing slow-growing varieties, and grouping by water and pruning needs. Install irrigation zones that match plant types, and run lines beneath hardscapes for a clean look. Use fabric weed barriers only where truly necessary and rely on dense planting and mulch elsewhere. Time saved on upkeep is time gained enjoying the space, which is the true test of successful landscaping. For a modern twist on tradition, reinterpret the classic front hedge. Instead of a monolithic wall, use staggered blocks of the same species at varying heights, leaving gaps for air and glimpses. The effect feels architectural yet lighter. Pair with a lean gate or path that threads through. This approach respects neighborhood character while updating the language, offering privacy, rhythm, and an elevated aesthetic that reads fresh from any angle. Driveways can host gardens too. Introduce planting stripes between tire tracks, add strips of permeable pavers, or carve out geometric pockets for grasses. These moves cool hard surfaces, reduce runoff, and add texture where you least expect it. Keep turning radii practical and select tough, low-growing species that handle heat. When the largest hardscape becomes part of the planting strategy, the whole front yard feels greener, softer, and more cohesively modern. Consider the choreography of rain. Shape subtle swales that guide water to planted basins, slow flow with river stones, and let thirsty species do the heavy lifting. This functional poetry protects foundations, nourishes plantings, and reduces irrigation needs. It also brings a natural curve to otherwise rectilinear designs, a gentle counterpoint that feels contemporary and grounded. When storms roll through, your front yard performs beautifully instead of battling the weather.